The Tories have come out swinging at the government over what they say is a lack of action on auto thefts. Both today and yesterday, Pierre Poilievre held press conferences to announce that if the Conservatives form government, they'll increase jail time for repeat auto thieves. Their accusations, the Liberals are light on this crime in particular, also dominated question period for a second day, just a few days ahead of a national summit on auto thefts here in Ottawa. What's behind the Tory strategy and who are they hoping it resonates with? Let's bring back the front bench. Brian Gallant, Lisa Raitt, Tom Mulcair, and Rob Benzie. I'll just put that exact question to you, Lisa. What is behind it, and who are they hoping it resonates with?
Well, what's behind it is that the places in which you're seeing the highest increase in car thefts happen to be the places where the Conservatives would like to pick up seats. That's Toronto and Montreal. And showing that you have a concern about it. And people have stories that they tell each other, and everybody knows somebody whose car's been stolen maybe once, maybe twice in some cases. So it's important for them to be part of this discussion and conversation around auto theft as well, and coming out with real concrete ideas. But Vassy, I got to say, when I heard that the big announcement coming out of Cabinet Retreat was that they were going to do this summit on auto theft, I laughed. I thought it was a joke. I really did. And I'm not trying to poo-poo the work being put into this, but I got to say, there's been enough studies. We know what the problem is. It's organized crime, and they need to make sure that the RCMP and all the police officers across the country have the right tools and have the right revenues to be able to deal with this kind of thing. A summit of politicians yakking on, trying to get any kind of point that they can tell their constituents that they're working hard on this issue, I think is a waste of everybody's time. Let's just get to action and start dealing with this.
Rob, you're in Toronto, and I know that it's Toronto, Montreal. It's also the suburbs of those places, right? Like I live in a suburb of Ottawa. My neighborhood Facebook group, as much as I can't stand to be on it, it's all about whose truck got stolen from, you know what I mean? Like, I do feel that there is, like when Lisa talks about the type of voters that the Tories are looking to expand, especially in the next election, like this feels like something that they care about.
No, Lisa is bang on. Herald Riding of Milton is the exact type of place the Tories can win if they stop the crime. And when they talk about stop the crime in Mr. Poilievre's talking point, it's a lot about car theft, carjackings. I mean, here in Ontario, every 14 minutes a car gets stolen, Vassy. So that means through the course of Power Play today, four cars will have been stolen in Ontario alone. And that's 4 families that have a huge headache to deal with. And what often happens is you get your car stolen, and then the replacement vehicle is then stolen because the thieves know they stole a car, and they'll get a brand new Toyota Highlander or Lexus or whatever they stole first thing. I mean, they really do narrow in on certain types of vehicles too. They don't seem to steal electric cars, so there's something there, I guess. I don't know, but it's a really frustrating thing for homeowners, for motorists, and I think it's a very smart and popular thing that the Tories are talking about. And Lisa's right. The Liberals are having this summit. Doug Ford's government is participating in that on Thursday in Ottawa. But again, governments here at Queen's Park have been wrestling with this problem for a long time as well. It's really hard to do without a cohesive strategy of local police forces, provinces, and the federal government keeping an eye on the ports better.
I think that from a strategic point of view, what I thought was really interesting, Tom, and we've talked about this in other areas, not specific to crime or auto thefts, but we knew the summit was coming up. The criticism had arisen that it was kind of a light announcement given the severity of the problem. And lo and behold, like 3 days or 4 days before it starts, the 9 a.m. on a Monday morning, Pierre Poilievre has a press conference scheduled in an area that is affected by this, making like a policy announcement of sorts. Like strategically, it feels to me, again, like the Tories are trying to set the agenda on a topic that the Liberals were trying to do the exact same thing with.
Yeah, and he was in Montreal today giving a very effective press conference in the port, saying he wants to buy 24 machines to be able to scan containers, and he had all his facts and figures before him. And to help him out, there were tapes all over the news. There were videos of 2 car thefts, and in one car theft that they don't have a video of, but that we learned about, a police officer was upended by somebody stealing a car. So all that plays into the narrative. This is also a reflection of the very deep pockets of the Conservative Party, because they're very good at polling. They're very good at understanding what's the psyche of Canadians, what is worrying them, what is bugging them. They have deep data, much more than Liberals, and don't even talk about the NDP or the Bloc. So they're taking full advantage of this. They're playing this directly to an audience that is very receptive to it, and it happens to be an audience in the places where they would like to win seats. So it is first and foremost about politics. I disagree a little bit, though, with the analysis that says that the Liberals are late to the game and they shouldn't be doing it, they should just be acting. By having something and having an event, you can come out of the event with a series of 5 or 6 things that you're promising to do. Where I think Poilievre is scoring the most on this is that he has a very valid point, that our court system is singularly ineffective in dealing with this type of issue. The catch and release line is an image that stays with people, and you know what? It's not untrue. And I think that there are very organized groups that come from countries with much rougher justice systems and jail systems than ours, and they're saying, basically, if you get caught, nothing happens. And that word has gotten out, and that's why we're going through this really serious problem right now.
Last word to you, Brian. My guess is the Liberals will aim to make a specific announcement out of the summit to try and counter the criticism leading up to it that it's kind of fluff.
Well, let me just first start by saying I agree totally with the regional aspect of the Conservatives focusing on this. The second thing, though, I would say, I read a poll years ago, so I feel bad that I can't mention who did it, but I just remember the sort of outcome of their poll. And essentially it looked at things that people cared about, and it kind of cross-pollinated with data that people actually thought that government could have an impact on those things. So for an example, people care deeply in Canada about healthcare, but they're pretty skeptical towards government's ability to actually improve healthcare. So just give you that as an example. And I remember from that poll that crime was something that was sort of lower on the list because we live, I think, in a wonderful country that we can say is safe. But obviously we have pockets and times that it does increase and it becomes more important in certain communities. So on top of that, I remember the poll saying that people felt at that time that Conservatives were better at fighting crime. And they felt that governments could actually do something to improve crime. So all that to say that if you have these regions that are going to be crucial in the next election, worried about crime, that can lend itself better to Conservatives, and people actually believe that governments can take action to improve it. Now, on the summit, maybe this is the Liberal in me here. I think it's a great idea because when it comes to justice, I want to hear from experts. I want to hear from people that are on the ground. I want to hear exactly how we should go about it. And I'm just not sure sort of a bunch of politicians and advisors in a room can kind of come up with something that will be the best approach. So I kind of like the summit, if I'm being honest, showing my colors, I guess, on this one. And I would worry a little bit that there might not be something right out of a summit to announce. I think we have to sort of put our expectations where it's going to be. But Minister LeBlanc, who's certainly a friend, is a great communicator, and I have no doubt will do the best he can to ensure that he shows the Canadians that the summit was worth it.
We shall see. I will leave it there. Thank you very much. I appreciate the discussion. Brian Gallant, Lisa Raitt, Tom Mulcair, and Rob Benzie, our front bench.